In my years here, certainly there's been a huge change in those sorts of things that can distract people from what it is they might be doing. And certainly driving is one of those issues with all the technology available to us, the personal devices. You know, and when 24 years ago, there was one law in the books that you couldn't have headphones on when driving. Because they saw it even back then that it distracted you and you couldn't hear what was going on outside your vehicle, someone calling or yelling or even a fire truck or a siren. You couldn't hear it. So there was a law, that was the only law in the books then to try to keep people focused on what it was they were doing, driving. And of course that now, with everything else, all the other devices we have now, in conjunction with trying to drive, has created issues for us at both at the intersection of the driver not focusing on what they're doing, and at the same time, although you don't need to concentrate on walking, certainly when you are approaching a crosswalk there is some level of concentration that's needed because you tend to get lulled into the fact that the cars are only moving at 30 miles an hour here as a top speed, posted speed limit. But it's important that when crossing a crosswalk that you still focus and make sure that there's no one coming. We all know that there's stories out there of people stepping right into traffic and getting struck.
It's not as prevalent because it's a lot of them is like oops moments where people catches themselves or just correct their vehicle before they get into an accident, so they're not reported as much. So I think that's where it's underreported, where people either they go off their road a little bit or they hit a curb, and that there's minor damage or no damage to the vehicle. But yet that's not reported because it's not an accident.
In my opinion, it's something, I mean, I'm very happy that people aren't allowed to text while driving anymore, especially on campus. It's an extraordinarily dangerous thing. We have an issue with pedestrian safety as it is, both drivers not paying attention and pedestrians not paying attention. So having either of those groups distracted even further is a very bad idea, and I've witnessed some very close calls, like just walking around campus, like with people almost getting hit.
I've noticed a lot about distracted driving. You know, you go down the street, you see every person next to you is texting or on their cell phone. I think distracted walking is just as big a problem as distracted driving.
So in October of 2009, I was driving behind a guy on the UMass campus, and I was texting on my phone, and a guy ran across the street in front of him where there was no crosswalk. But I was looking down at my phone, so I couldn't see the guy in front of me slam on his brakes, and I ended up rear-ending him. It caused my car damage, and it didn't look like anything happened to his car, but when he took it to get inspected, there was about $700 worth of damage underneath. So luckily my insurance covered it, but it did affect my insurance, obviously. So after that, I'm really glad that they put the texting laws in place, because I'm now one of those people who will think twice when I look at my phone. And I'll definitely either wait or pull over or call somebody, because it's not worth having that happen again. So I think laws like that are really important because people don't really realize how big of a deal it is until something happens to them.
I had an accident 2 nights ago on the midnight shift where a person had been texting, but they also had been at a bar earlier. So both things operated. The operator immediately said that as soon as he gets out of the car and everything's, he's going to cancel his texting out of his phone. So it is still an issue.
There was just a story recently about a woman down on Cape Cod, a pregnant woman, who stepped right out into traffic. She was distracted, and both her and the baby were killed. So it's something we are trying to work, I think, with a lot of other police departments, with their communities, to get people to focus on what it is that they're doing at the time and not be distracted, whether it's a driver or a pedestrian.